call to order the City Council workshop meeting for Monday, March 9th.
Councilmember White. Councilmember Freeberg. Councilmember Curley. Councilmember Bartley.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember White. I make a motion.
We have a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember White. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Item number 3.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Presentation.
That would be council members. There are two parts to this presentation. One is the ArcGIS. We've updated our water lines, sewer lines, storm lines, interties, meters, and so forth. And I'm going to just show you what they are. They're computerized now. They are the most updated maps that are available. And the second is just a short presentation or long presentation on the HDP pipe and what the benefits for the city of Algona to replace 1,900 feet of that pipe ourselves because we could save a lot of money to do it. So with that, I just turned on the water lines and I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm going to zoom in into the area where we're going to be replacing water lines and also doing an overlay. So with this ArcGIS now, we can click on the line and it'll tell us exactly how many feet that line is. We can then turn on even the water meters. So we know where every single one of our water meters is located. And we can click on each individual water meter and it'll tell us what the acid ID is, what the elevations are. The thing we're going to do here is when we replace water meters, we're going to update everything. So if we replace a water line or replace a water meter, we can say what year it is, what kind it is, and so we start getting a better running inventory of everything. It has, besides the water, we also have all of our hydrants, for example. So if I zoom out on here, and I can click on our hydrants, they're the ones that are in red. So it's going to make it easier for public works. They can go into here. We can modify if we've replaced a hydrant. For example, we've replaced this hydrant here in this corner, and that one was from 1960. It was leaking, no longer functioning well. It was an old 4-inch AC water line, and so we replaced several of these hydrants. That was Richard and his crew. So Richard, I don't know if you know him. He's our public works supervisor. And he's done a lot of this HDP welding for me in the past. He worked for about 10 years for me. We built fish hatcheries out of much larger pipe than this. And then we have in the audience Tony and Adrian from Corn, Maine, and they're going to give a little quick demonstration of what the plastic pipe is. And so with that, I think I'd like to start with the presentation, the PowerPoint that I have provided you. If you have any questions, please just ask us as we go along. This is meant to be more informational for you at this time, because what the public works really would like to do is to replace some of our own water lines, and so we get experience hands-on, and it's much cheaper to do. So, but please ask questions. So, like I said, Like I said, we want to do about 1,900 feet, and that'll be Seattle Boulevard, 2nd Avenue North, and 3rd Avenue North. In the next slide, you'll see exactly the location. I put together some of the pricing. There's about $100,000 in material costs, and then there's between $40,000 to $60,000 in labor. But it's already on the labor; it's already in our budget as well. So we'd be burning through about $10,000 a week in labor, but like I say, it's already we're already working on it. Here's the lines that we just discussed. This was the area where that hydrant was that we replaced. So these are the lines that we're going to do an overlay. We have a grant, a $350,000 grant to do an asphalt overlay. And so what our thinking is, if we're going to do an overlay, let's rip up the pipe down. It's 4-inch AC water mains. They're from the probably 1960s. The fire hydrant was from 1960. So we can do that. We can disturb the pavement, and then we can just do an overlay over top, which doesn't cost us anything, but we already have a grant for that. And we're already proceeding. So that's the reason for these 3 segments that we have chosen. Yeah.
So, back one slide. When you do the new lines, we're going to get new water meters at every of those yellow dot locations.
That is a conversation that we're going to have tonight.
Okay.
The $109,000 does not include
Water meter.
Yeah, it just includes the main line and service line. So there's 61, I think 61 or 66? 61 water meters. And those water meters cost approximately $500 each. Because if we want the ones that we can shut off from remotely now, from here, those are the ones that we would replace. We also replace what's called the setters, thank you. Which is between the water line and the meter, and also the water meter box. It's about $1,000 per household. So we're looking at about $60,000 for just those parts. But I think personally, our best money is to do just everything and have it done. Next year, we get more CID funding for pavement overlays. We do those streets and so forth. And so we coordinated with the overlays. To me, it makes sense. Tony and Adrian will talk about the life of the HDP pipe, but there's a lot of it already in Kent. They're using it, and I've heard 60 plus years in this, probably maybe 100. So
you say it's about $1,000 for the box and the meter
in the center.
In the center. What's the labor? $500 per meter? Or
It would be our internal labor ourselves.
Yeah, but I mean, roughly.
Well, without changing those, we are going to replace the service line. So at the same time, we rip it out and put it back in. It could be just pairing the meters and here and there, but not like $500, not significant, because we're taking it out either way.
Okay, so you're getting to the meter anyway, so.
Yeah, even if we only replace the poly line service line to the center, we still need to open up enough area to connect the water with the new line. So.
Well, I realize it's all internal money, but just one.
How long do you think it would take to replace one?
A couple hours.
To be honest, depends on the condition of the pipe on the other side. So, quick one could be like half an hour, 20 minutes. Then longer one, if it's all rusty, the resident might need to contact the plumber, that kind of stuff. So, might be a little longer.
You're saying several $60,000 material?
Yes.
You're not counting
the pipe and the service lines, we allocated 4 to 6 weeks for 5 people, $40,000 to $60,000.
And on top of that is the material.
The material is for 80,000. For 80,000. I will list. I will list it up here.
So when we, in my present day job, we pay, we can only go up to a certain limit. Because of a single trade.
Correct.
And it sounds like we're going over that right now.
This is the dual trade, and then there's another reach on over. There's another one that allows for utility up to 300,000, but labor is not included in those. You only have to include the material. Now, internally, yes, for cost accounting, absolutely.
Sorry. You put in a new water line, you have to put into, you have to tap services.
Yes.
So you're gonna redo that to the
Yes. Right. And Cormier will explain how that's done. It's electric fusion. Okay. Good questions. So, as I explained, we're looking at about 1,900 feet, and our labor is budgeted somewhere between $40,000 to $60,000, depending on how many weeks it's going to take us to get there. If we can do 100 feet a day, it'll be less. But it's less than 100 feet a day is approximately what you're taking. As I said, separately, the meter, etc., hydrant, valve packages, around $65,000. That's not included in the 109,000. So with the labor, it's going to be between $150,000 and $170,000. And then the optional package with the hydrants and setters and meters, another $60,000. And in order to really do this efficiently, we would like to look at some summer labor that can help mow the trails, pick up the garbage, and support the rest of the team. This is the base prices. We've got the pipe and the materials, service lines for $80,000. It's a little bit less than that, but I increased it. We're going to backfill with gravel. We have to rent the welding machine and fusion machine, and then use it to get them trained. So it's about $900 per person for the training, and the certification is good for a year. Again, Cormier can talk to that. So when we add the labor component, we're looking internally to put $150,000 to $170,000 to do that work. I looked at some of the recent municipal bids that have come in. One in Tacoma came in May of 2025. Was 4,200 feet of 8-inch ductile iron, and that worked out to be about 270 feet, $270 a foot. Now, if you look at that, this one here, when you multiply the 270 times 1,900, it would work out to $513,000. In our case, we're looking at between $80 and $90. So there's a gap there of about $340,000. But it's more than that on a cash flow basis, because we already have dedicated that labor in the budget. So if we're able to do that, then we would be even lower than that. And of course, that was done in 2023. It's a very similar price for 8-inch ductile iron. And then Kent, I took a look at Kent's, that was in January of 2025. And the price, if you just included the water components, there's about $350 a foot. That didn't include excavation and a bunch of the other things in there. But also they had 8 and 12-inch pipe. So I think there was 12-inch pipe was the majority of it, and there was some, about a third of it was 8-inch. And if you actually include the excavation and the water lines, it worked out to equivalent of about $1 million for 1,900 feet. Again, these are not perfect numbers.
So what are we putting in? We're not putting in 8-inch.
Yeah, we're putting in the 8-inch HDPE pipe. So we would excavate, we would, there's all of the things, utilities that are in the ground, we don't know for sure. So we're going to have to excavate around it, we have to locate everything, and then we have to weld all the pipe and then slip it in. And I'm hoping that Adrian and Tony will be able to explain that process for you. As I said, there's optional replacements. If we want to, at the same time, for another $65,000, we could put all the meters in, the setters, the fire hydrants and valves. That does not include any additional labor beyond what we already have. But I don't think it's going to be significant. And again, we'd like to have a couple summer employees, 2 to 4 months, and that's an additional $16,000 to $32,000 for us to do that.
So if we don't put these in at this time, the meters and stuff, what does that involve at a later date? I mean, you're still going to tap it, and you're still going to run it out, and you're just going to tie in the existing. So then we got to come back and dig up the whole thing and.
I don't believe so. But if we do replace the setters, we have to turn the water on, so that we can replace it. If we don't have to replace the setters, just put a meter, then we're fine.
So then, by the sound of it, it sounds like we want to, at the minimum, whether we replace the water meters or not, we want to replace the setters, because then we're not shutting the whole system down to come in and replace one water meter. You're not shutting all of Third Avenue off.
Absolutely, 100% off. Yeah. We can also look at the setters, but I bet they're probably 60 years old too. What do you think?
Well, Silver Bird is a little younger than that, but if we don't do it all together, it's whenever there's a water leak or a meter fail on reading, that's the time we'll be replacing those. So it's just, I mean, eventually we'll still get all of them, like whenever they fell. But it's not like we need to go back and do them all at once together, but eventually it'll be outdated.
The most important is to do the lines. They're 4-inch AC water lines. You want to replace them with 8-inch. They're a better fire flow. They're brittle. We've already seen some failures where we saw a jet of water right from the ground all the way up into the sky. Threw rocks on the windows of the house, broke the window. Also, we had lit on the roof and stuff for cleanup. So there's a lot of damage that can happen. We have 32,000 feet of hillside in the ground. We're talking about replacing 3,000 feet. If we're going to replace them in today's dollars, we're looking at probably $12 million. If we contracted it out. Or under $2 million if we do it ourselves. I know we can't do that kind of work ourselves. It's too large. But we'll talk further here. So again, it's just a synopsis on how long it's going to take. If we do it in 4 weeks, it'll be less labor, but it could take 5 or 6 weeks. The code, RCW. So RCW does allow us to do some of the work up to a certain maximum. And then the next slide I'm going to have will tell you exactly. But anything over $25,000, we're going to have to publicize in the paper. And then so everybody knows what we're doing. So, Councilmember Thomas, you were saying about the single work item, 75,000. I think it's 75,500, but it's neither here nor there. We look at this as two work items. One is excavation, and one is replacement of the pipe. So, and I looked that up, and it seems that this is the correct reading on it. But there's also another one under utility, and that includes water lines, and it's listed at 300,000. And as I said, the RCW does not consider labor to be included in the cost. So we need to be okay with 150. Now, if we did the water meters at the same time, then we'd be okay. On the middle one.
Again, I agree with that. It seems like we're offsetting the labor costs with hiring additional people to do the work you guys are wanting. Instead of doing this. So it really doesn't tell the true cost of what that asset is. The cost of putting it around labor.
I can certainly put more details to that. And I wanted to provide this information to you so you could have your comments and stuff. And because eventually you will have to decide whether or not to do this. But when you say 350,000, if another 30,000, you would still be saving over 200. And this is an example of the potential savings based on the two different river roads that I was able to get my hands on. So it was just informational for tonight. We can certainly pin down the cost. The duration is a little bit more complicated because it could take 4 weeks, it could take 6 weeks, and who knows what we'll run into on the ground. So if the council wants, we can put together a better proposal with more details on this.
So my concern is, same with one Mr. Thomas, there is labor, and my other thing would be if we got our whole public works crew working on this for 4 to 6 weeks, what happens when we have something else happen in the city? And if we pull half the crew off to go fix this, and now we're just dragging and dragging and dragging, and I mean, I don't know exactly how this is scheduled, but I mean, you get your long side of the existing, you pull the pipe in, and then you pull the old one out. I mean, I just can't have 61 people without water for 2 months.
Right.
I mean, and I can't see. I do this for a living, so I can't see that there's not something going to happen that is going to require Richard and the guys out there. So I just don't know that I feel comfortable putting our whole crew for 6 weeks on a project to work with the rest of the city.
Right.
So
Yeah.
That's my main concern. I don't know if anybody else has that. Or not.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a concern. We would have a temporary water line to all the residents on both sides of the street. So we run a 2-inch from the fire hydrants and connect them directly until the work is done. So we won't be without that.
So just to make sure that I'm understanding this properly, I can, just use my perception, but it sounds like public works, like our staff, like our Algona Public Works, they would be in kind of like the mix of this, and then the regular day-to-day landscaping, making sure the trail is no homeless encampment there, so you know what I mean, doing stuff like that, that would be kind of offloaded to temporary services for some other person to kind of do
Yes.
So then you guys would be just like focused on this to understand this, like
Right.
the best, I guess?
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
So there's still gonna be staffing.
Yeah.
There's still staffing, we're just moving all of you guys over here and just getting in like a temporary staff.
Yeah, I would be involved directly in that as well. I used to have an excavation company, so I am familiar with excavation as well. We're trying to save the city money. That's our motive here, because it's very expensive and we don't have a whole lot of money. And this is a way to start. We don't have to do both streets right away. I mean, we could do, one street, see how it goes, but that's going to be up to us.
I'm not, against it. I'm just,
Yeah.
it's all about saving the city money, but it's also, we can't be where the city's losing services. Is my main concern. But I appreciate it. We can move on with
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So, who here is familiar with HTTP? I know Bill is. Someone. So HTTP is a fully fused monolithic system, meaning you can have allocated pipe together, all fused, one joint. There's no gaskets or bolt turning. It's flexible, so if you have earthquakes, you can use it here, grades. Only
That's the material cost, it's called HDD.
HTTP gauge is what all this is. So you have your swallowable pipe and you have all your fittings that fuse in line with it. So anytime you have a transition to the land or integrated after, when you're going into a typical fire hydrant or valve, then it's a transition. To a couple iron. As far as the services go, it's not like John is thinking about going to one of these electrocuted saddles, which is similar to this. It has a fuse to the mainline pipe, there's a electrocuted tire. Then you would allow your hole for your cork and you screw your cork stop in it. That's still a rest fitting. From there, you would run your service tubing to the meter setter and meter.
One of the things that Adrian's talking about the monolithic system, the way this is put together, once it's together, it's one piece. So probably have to any of these joints, any of these, it's a molecular bond, so you don't have a joint there. Old materials, and I don't want to say what it is for Washington State, but there's cities I know I dealt with in Texas and California that 30 to 40% of everyone's water bill is leaking. It's for leakage. Where polyethylene is zero leak system. So there's no allowable leakage used in polyethylene. And so that's one of the ways you save water, but you also save the customer some money on that and things.
There's a quick little video of a buck feeding machine. This machine is using foreign pipe right here. It's the same process, it's different. There's no volume here right now. So right now, you're facing the pipe down, getting down the virgin material in square. That's where it is. Where it is. Once it's face down, you bring it together, you do a quick check, make sure there's no air gaps, everything's lined up. And then if there's a heater plate that's between 400 and 450 degrees, you bring in there and you're just heating the two ends together. Basically, you're heat soaking it. It's not heat under pressure. Just letting it heat up at a certain amount of time. The heat side you're waiting for it, you're heating it. So there's the heating in. As it gets hotter, the pipe expands and it creates that need. The visual guide, if you will, you want that certain 6-inch well, or sorry, 8-inch well, from start to finish, it's gonna be roughly 25 minutes. Pulling the heater out here, quick visual check, and you put together with a certain amount of pressure and start to cool off. Roll it down to the minute per inch per diameter, so 8-inch, up to 8 minutes. Cool off, you're just untapping it, pull that pipe out, bring in the next stick, and keep adding to it.
So you end up with one of those wells about every, the stick's going 40 or 50 footers. So depending on what you get, there's not a whole lot of wells on one street.
And John and I drove around the roads about a month ago, we located a couple of wet fields, not far away, where we could use up the whole length of the road, have it staged, so when the ditch is ready, we can pull it in, put your service on, bury it, so you're not wasting time choosing next to the hole. Yeah, well, you're done, ready to roll.
How long are the sticks?
The ones in our yard are 40s.
Okay.
Our yard is, I mentioned, we have $1 around here. If we would want to end up looking to get. We have macro certified carriers that John's talking about, come out and come to crew. No questions that not being done correctly.
So we get this straight. This is what it's an option to put your ductile iron pipe.
Right.
And you would lay this in before you shut off any other part. At some point, when you get your tie-ins and then new services on that.
If I was looking at this underground, how much would this piece cover?
Well, this is just showing off.
Well, this is just showing off. Yeah, the
It's not
pipe
like
is,
sections.
no, you just have a straight piece of pipe. And then the side, as I was saying, so that, but here's your procedure they showed you there, the 2 ends, 6 of pipe. So when you're doing your side services, this here has a heat element in it. So you don't have to put that machine down. This goes right up to the side of the pipe, and the heat and pressure are made right while this is welding the side. And it really doesn't, I mean, as far as putting, this thing, once you get, if it's in the ground, to put a side service on it's only going to take you maybe half an hour.
So like that's just plugged in like one main water line.
Correct.
And then you just have one giant long.
Right, and you've got, so however you're hooking into the AC, whether you flange to it or MG, whatever that connection is, once you get there, then it's all a fusible system until you start having to use the thread joints at the surface.
I saw this used in forest meetings, especially on big projects.
Yeah.
You actually put in thousands of people and stuff.
Yeah.
King County Water District 90 is changing the whole system over HP. They're, I think, on the last bid right now.
What's the history of this?
So the history was, geez, it came out, what, the 1920s, I want to say, when it was
It's been being used in Texas since the late 60s in the oil patch. And then the thing when you talk about the leak freezes much, any natural gas, the yellow pipe you see, that's a high density polyethylene. And so if you think about the risk factor the gas business has, they can't have any leaks or anything like that. That's the real selling factor. And right now, people want to say a 50 to 100-year life, but they're pulling up pipe that they were giving 40-year lives from the 60s, that they're pulling it up and retesting it and saying it's still got 50 years to go on something that's been around. There's no, if you look at, I don't have any pictures of the growth inside metal pipe, but metal pipe has a lot of buildup on the inside, and it's polyethylene chemically inert, so nothing will build up on
No tools to install this cutter,
Yeah.
heaters out.
it. Yeah. And high, I mean, it's available, so it's not something you have to wait for, they can have a tough night getting it.
And all five of the WWA routes in the United States is all approved for water use.
So these satellites, can they be installed on a plant system?
Yes.
Satellite this.
So, a sign like this one, so if this is a live line, you would weld that to the top, hook up a valve in your pipe, and then this here has a cutter on the inside. So it'll go right down, take you 2 miles. And that's with the water pump.
And you can do it the same way through just a normal cord, like you would any other material. You just have to have a longer hose.
And if you guys
And if you guys want, you know, some actual drop projects in cities, we can get you examples of that.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we can send you a chunk of that for sure.
So Orange, that, the one on the corner, that's what we used to have, right? Or that's what we have now?
The side
We're
is fine,
going over
right.
that, right?
Or residents.
Water pressure.
So what's the difference in cubic feet or gallons from a 4 to an 8? I know it's just not.
Well, yeah, I'm not a.
Calculations, I don't know.
But that's a lot, especially since this pipe flows better and can take more gallons per minute than the material you're using. But, you know, if you gave us an example of what flow we're going to get difference, we need like 5.5.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So it would probably be exponential, a better way to say it.
Correct.
Exponentially.
Richard, back to you now.
Yeah, so about 4 times bigger.
4 times.
4.16.
Part of a water system plan.
Part of our water system plan calls for increasing the pipes from 4 to 8 inch for fire flow purposes.
I was just wondering what the increased flow was.
That sounds right. You go from
That
1
sounds,
inch to 2
sounds right.
inches.
You go from 1 inch to 2 inches 4 times. So
Most of Europe uses
most of Europe uses
just
all,
HDPE.
pretty much use just HDPE type.
I don't have any more questions.
I'm just so good at getting updated.
Yeah, it's great, and there's a lot of towns that are going, making huge switches. There's, I don't know if you broke pipe bursting, but you can actually pull this pipe through the smaller. It breaks out the old without digging the road. And Houston has their own, city has their own bursting crews, their own connection crews. So it's really a product of the future. And I mean, it's proven itself in the gas market and in the oil patch market as far as, you know, reliability. And it's just, I always think it's a big seller on the leakage. You're not losing any water that, and somebody is a pain.
If you're bursting though, and that, I think I agree that bursting is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
If you're pulling just pipe through here, you still got to go to each service, and you still got to pothole down.
Correct.
In each service,
Yeah.
and then hook up the service to the main, and then get it to the house. You're just not digging that big ass.
Correct.
Big trip.
But there's a problem with bursting DC water lines. It's not legal.
Well, what about all the 4-inch asbestos pipe we have that I think was designated to be replaced first on the south end?
You can leave it in the ground.
Okay.
You can't burst it.
Okay. I'll just make a comment.
Yeah, gut fill, you can do that.
Yeah, gut fill, you can do that, concrete, you can do that.
And it's all due to a storm. I can do that. I'll just
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah, and like I said, any questions or anything, just let us know and we'll get you information. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
agenda.
Yeah, I didn't want to go.
You don't have a job. No.
Oh, yeah, we're not there tomorrow.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you taking the time.
Public participation during meetings of the city council and long-term comments. This time is set aside for you to speak on the city council on any issue. The council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters that are advised before taking action. You're invited to comment on action items as they're should be. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each when addressing the city council. When addressing the council, please speak clearly, audibly. State your name and address for the record. Do you have anybody who'd like to speak? Is there anybody online who wants to speak? Okay,